Mr. Menon, India is a $1 trillion economy, and 300 billion of that belongs to maybe 40 Indians, if you add up their wealth. Does that bother you? Is that a sign of extreme rich-poor divide?
I think this is the wrong way to look at this. All economies at a certain growth phase will see greater equality. This is the work of a Nobel laureate economist. He studied the countries, and you see a curve. At one point, inequality goes up, and then it starts coming down. So you should expect that. Number two, we are an entrepreneurial-driven society or economy. Unlike, let's say, China, which is more state companies, or a lot of the Western European and US companies. US is more entrepreneur-driven, which are large corporations, and there's no one entrepreneur behind them. So you're automatically going to get more billionaires in an entrepreneurial-driven system, because the wealth is in the stocks whose value has gone up.
We're getting more, we're getting fewer or becoming richer, sir.
No, but the point is that you cannot therefore decry the wealth creation process merely because you have not taken care of the people at the bottom of the pyramid, which is a totally different set of challenges. It's to do with the provision of food, it's to do with literacy levels, it's to do with health and sanitation. Those are issues the state should be addressing, and those are the failures of the state. And to say that because you're creating wealth at one end, you should blame them for what's not happening at the other end, is to mix up issues completely.
Would you say the UID project would help redress the problem? The UID project that's the government of India is undertaking?
No, there is no magic bullet for solving these problems. The UID has the potential to be a transformational project. It can, for instance, achieve dramatic changes in financial inclusion. It can bring about dramatic efficiency improvements in transferring resources in terms of fiscal transfers to the poor. So it has the potential for achieving transformational change. But there is no one magic bullet. It cannot give you education. It cannot give you public health. Our levels of immunization in this country are actually falling and are now lower than Bangladesh. These are failures of the state, which the state has to address. And you cannot take away from the wealth creation process, because that is not happening. It needs to happen, and it must happen.
But the wealth creation process, for a critic, is not exactly the fairest. People get a license because they know somebody. There's a lot of crony capitalism going on in India. So you cannot say that we should allow that to go on and let the poor get their own time.
I did not for a moment suggest that crony capitalism should go on. In fact, we are now seeing it go from crony capitalism to oligarchies, which is the acquisition of political power and economic power in the same hands. And some of the Radia team's business is really pointing to the rise of oligarchies, which we should worry about. I'm not mixing up the wealth creation process with the problems of the system, but merely the fact that a lot of India's wealth creation is by first-generation entrepreneurs. It's not necessarily inherited wealth. They are in a whole different varieties of industries. So, if you take that away from India and you say there should be no entrepreneurs, then what are you left with?
Ramdev, in your study, and it's something I know you'll go back because you're a thinking man, 5 of the 8 biggest wealth creators, right, the biggest, have been PSU stocks, right? Is there a lesson in that for you? Is that something you learned from that lesson? How does that relate back to your UU investing style?
Are you saying that future wealth creators can be PSU stocks?
No, yes. Are you saying that if 5 out of 8 have been the greatest wealth creators, the one who created the maximum wealth in your own study, have been PSUs, ONGC, MMDC, NMDC, all the alphabet companies are there.
Sure.
A, did you understand that revolution, that the greatest wealth was going to be created by these public sector companies? And B, are there lessons in that for the next bunch of PSUs that are coming up?
Yeah, one of the things is that all these public sector companies are very, very focused and almost monopolies in their own businesses. So like NMDC, they literally own all the iron ore mines, maybe 60-70% what is proved in India. is under them. So the kind of, and they were the early developers of these initiatives. So they have very large resource blocks under them. ONGC is literally by default all the oil fields are with them. So I think this kind of monopolistic resource companies, they are clearly in the kind of environment we are talking, where China will become very dominant. So because per capita income is very low, the value added is very little. So the pressure on the commodity demand is going to be quite massive. So these companies, they will become even bigger, and not because they are very well managed, or they are simply that underlying them, like Coal India. I think 5-6 years back, Coal India was one of the biggest source of criticism. Today, when the IPO came, I think it was one of the biggest, revelation that it is the world's largest colliery, and people lap it up and hoping that it will become much better company in the way forward. But the issue is that they literally own 60-70% of all the energy sources in India. So I think the role of public sector companies in these situations are going to be quite dominant. But yet you must have seen the slide where the total wealth created by public sector companies, I mean, they have come down from 50-60% or 45-50% to as low as 25-27%, despite these monopolies. Like banking, 70% is completely PSU. So I think opportunities are very big, but I think somewhere state control is there. Ownership is too much concentrated in government. So one of the ways could be, I mean, these companies can become completely fountain of wealth creation in the marketplace, only if they are given much more autonomy and much more professionally managed. It's not that it has to be privatized in true sense, but these companies have tremendous potential.
Okay, you explained the banking sector as an example of you investing, but during the course of the study, did you focus on any other sectors that had that UU category that investors should look at?
We talked about retailing, organized retailing. That is a very exciting field. Again, coming back to this metals and mining, some of the very small companies, they could come up and create amazing. I mean, look at the story of the Sterlite industry. I mean, the entire group. I think at the turn of the century, they were very small. Today, after the Balco takeover, then the Hindustan Zinc, then Sesagoa, and they're all resource-rich companies. Then now we are talking about CAN takeover. So this group is somebody out there is master of UU investing at an aggregate level. And they have been able to, it's not that it's just the luck. They have been methodically going about selecting company after company, and probably they have some foresight of what is going to happen in this entire commodity space. And they have been buying. So I think there are a lot of opportunities out of the simple businesses, very old businesses which are not liked by the markets as a very promising businesses. Then you have internet businesses which are very scalable, and we have not seen many of them coming up at this juncture. They have been, actually IT has been catering to the global needs. They have not been able to, they have not come to solve a lot of, at least among the listed space, we have not seen many technology product companies. And once I think internet goes to say from current few million to hundreds of millions of people through 3G overnight in the next 2-3 years, I think we'll see emergence of some very exciting companies which will do business on internet. So that is one area. So actually in the pace at which, I mean, if we grow at about 8, 9, 10% in next 10 years, because 10-year compounding is massive. This linear opportunity, this linear growth of 8, 9% will throw a lot of exponential opportunities in businesses, very simple businesses like paint business. I mean, this country is not painted only. The amount of paint which is going to be needed for this size and width and breadth of the country is unbelievable. There are only 1.5 or 2 players in this